All right, well, I don't know how that worked, but I got a phone call in the middle of trying to do this. So, it may or may not. Anyway, I'll just keep going. So anyway, I started drawing some toilet paper. I was like, toilet paper seems like kind of a big deal recently. Either you got it or you don't. So, with toilet paper, it's not a hard thing to draw, but you could draw like the stack of toilet paper. And one thing that would be really good to help with your drawing skill is being able to draw that toilet paper. Maybe it's unraveling and just being able to, ooh, Sharpie got a little rough there. But, you know, being able to understand the three-dimensional quality of the toilet paper. So I got a little drawing here of a skateboard that we're gonna draw here in just a few minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that line there and just kind of, you know, basically adding these little vertical lines that are gonna help to show like I said, my Sharpie got a little rough right there. And then where it comes back right here, you gotta imagine like right here, whoosh, there's this line that comes back that way. So if it was here, I'd be like, wham, like that. And so, you know, toilet paper's got like the little perforated edge or whatever. So we'll go ahead and you try to make them look as square as possible. But if they don't look totally square, that's okay too. You're like, well, those look like they're right in line with each other. It's because I'm envisioning that there's like probably right here where where it's curving around, there's another line, and so it's going to end up kind of making this kind of a strange look right there. It's easier when they're, notice all the lines kind of go vertical. Now these don't right over here because the toilet paper itself is kind of at an angle. So right off the bat, they kind of tilted an angle that as I get a little more uniform with what my toilet paper looks like, you know, I've got my lines going straight up and down. I don't know why. Anyway, what else do we got going on here? Yeah, so toilet paper. Hopefully you got it. You can use that for your inspiration on your sketches. You know, just drawing like, you know, roll of toilet paper sitting on a throne, or, you know, somebody running out of a store, some comic book character running out of a store with like a whole cart full of toilet paper. It can be just kind of, it's kind of comical, but it also, you know, it's also kind of like true to life, which is why it's funny, is because most things that are funny are actually kind of true in at least some way. Otherwise, the humor of it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. So I was going to draw like a little skateboard, give the board a little thickness. Now, one thing I've done here, I don't know what I was thinking. I went ahead and started my drawing, and I drew the thickness of the board, and then I drew the underneath side of the board. But then up at the top, I drew the top of the board. Now, if I'm looking from under the board, I'm not going to be able to see the top of the board. That much is for sure. I can probably see that. Maybe the top of the board there. I shouldn't be able to see a bunch of the... Yeah, more like that, I think. It's not a perfect way to draw it, but you know what? If it fools the eye, it'll be all right. If it fools the viewer and they can't tell what the problem is, then what's the matter? Okay, there's not always right or wrong answers. So if I go, let's do a better job with this wheel here. What are those called? Trucks? I don't know what a truck is supposed to look like, but we're gonna go ahead and make it look like that. I don't know. It's something like that. I haven't skateboarded since I was like 12. Man, when I was a kid, we didn't have any sort of place to go skateboard. You know, I remember for a little while I was a skater kid. It wasn't even the same thing as it is now. Man, that skateboard looks trash. That's okay. I really don't mind. And maybe instead of drawing an actual skateboard, like maybe you draw like the design. Like what would you design the bottom of a skateboard to look like with your own original artwork? Like what would it look like if, you know, you were gonna do something like that? Skateboard. Maybe design. All right. So moving right along. I got my can of spray paint set up upside down, holding my phone with a pop socket. This is totally, just totally rigged up here. So hopefully in the future, I'm gonna stop by and I'll get some other things that can help me make a little better quality video. So anyway, I am missing you guys. It's already just the start of this whole experience of us being at home and stuff, but I'm gonna draw a little monster over here. He's gonna be kind of scary looking, so if he looks too scary, I'll find some way to make him look not so scary. Anyway, yeah, like I was saying, I kind of missing you guys already. I'm worrying about you and want you to be okay. I'm sure you're okay. Your families are there with you and everything, so. Maybe some saliva and stuff on his teeth. His tongue. Oh, ignore the weird guy talking. Sorry. So I like to do like the kind of the textury growth rings to the horns. Maybe there's another horn over here. I hope you've been reassured. I hope you're not sitting at home like totally freaking out about how, you know, everything's gonna go crazy. It's just we're all kind of spending time just trying to, you know, make sure that our grandmas and grandpas and everybody gets to stay safe. And for the most part, here, let's give them some heart eyes. I'll make them look less dangerous. Not everything you have to draw has to have like a bunch of sense made of it. Like if I'm drawing this little weird monster guy and, you know, give him some armpits, maybe some creepy hands, some long fingers. Dude, hands are so hard to draw. So maybe I don't want to draw a whole lot of hands because they're hard to draw. Maybe that's a good reason to draw hands, because they are hard to draw. There's one hand. I gotta still do the other. If by chance you're at home, you should be at home, but if you're at home and you're not, you just, if there's anything you guys need, don't hesitate to ask somebody, either myself or someone at school. There are people all over that care and want to be able to talk to you about stuff going on in your life. And, you know, just because we're not at school doesn't mean we don't care. I'm going to do anything we can for you. So we got, what I'm saying is you email me, you email somebody else, somebody you can count on, and whether it's a food issue, or mom and dad are being crazy, or you just need somebody to talk to because thoughts in your head are bad, we got your back. Sometimes that's all we need to know, right? Is that somebody's got our back. I don't know what that line is, but maybe he's got 2 belly buttons. I don't know. So sometimes you just draw weird stuff. Sometimes you can draw, stuff from, that's currently going on, like toilet paper. Sometimes we draw from our interests, like skateboarding or video games. Sometimes we draw stuff that's around us, like, potted plants, stuff like that. Sometimes we draw things that have cool design elements, like just arrows, everywhere. Let's go back to that arrows one for a minute, because I could just keep going and just keep overlapping arrows and let arrows just fill the page, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, anyway, so you could just fill the page with different arrows going different directions, different types of arrows, short and fat, long and skinny, bow and arrow type arrows, etc. So, a couple other things that you could still draw. You could always kind of create your own cartoon character. I love doing this. I'm going to make a sad guy. And I can really make him look sad if his eyes go, up in the middle and down on the sides. It'll make his eyes look very, very sad. And of course his mouth will show the same sad thing. I'll give him a little mustache. He's probably why he's sad, because he's got a mustache. You might be like, Mr. Manning, you have a mustache. And I would say, kids, you are incorrect. I have a beard, so my mustache does not count. I put big welling, like things under his eyes here. Oh, maybe he's sad because he's bald. You could, there's nothing wrong with like imitating and drawing SpongeBob or Homer Simpson or something like that. But, what's really cool to me is like, coming up with your own. Some will be better than others. Or, if you want to draw SpongeBob, how can you maybe draw a different emotion on his face? So maybe like, learn to show emotion. There's a few of you I've already talked this about, and that is, if you're really good at drawing characters, start drawing characters that are interacting with their environment. SpongeBob doing something like vacuuming the floor, or, Homer Simpson riding a skateboard, or falling down the stairs. 2 characters talking to each other, because it helps tell the story, and it can be kind of a fun kind of deal. Graffiti's fun. You could always take your name and just, if you're like, well, I don't even know where to start, just there's all kinds of YouTube tutorials I'm not the best at graffiti per se, but what you're doing is you're just kind of abstracting the letter. You're abstracting the letter, and you know, my letter G here is like a capital letter G, and I've got the little, you know, because when I make a G, I come around like that, and then I go like that, and that's how I make my letter G. It's like a C and a T together, right? So that's the way my G looks that way. It's got my little sense of style to it. Graffiti can also be really cool if you add like dimension to it. If you have like all the lines at the top come back this way and all the ones at the bottom go back this way. So that way you can see the sides of stuff. Like so. That can be kind of a cool deal. And I got that G that I was going to write graffiti. Graffiti to me is so cool. I just remember growing up watching like trains drive by and thinking like all of the artwork on the sides of trains was so cool. But, you know, to me, whenever I was a kid, it was just like vandalism. And today, like the street art and Banksy and Shepard Fairey and all these guys that have just been doing graffiti for so long. And it's not just those guys. Like those are later on. Those are more street artists. The graffiti writers of the 80s. Like that's a truly American art form. And there's some, it's not totally legal, but I don't know. I still really like the way it looks. You shouldn't go draw on other people's property. I don't think that's the right thing to do, but the way it looks, I am a fan of. All right, so a couple other things. So I'm a big fan of food, as some of you may know. So I thought, well, maybe you could just draw your lunch. You know, if you have nothing else to do, you're sitting at lunch, you're like, you know what? Ooh, he's got a poppy seed bun on this hamburger over here. Must have went to Burger King. Oh, it looks like my fry basket. Looks like my fries look like they were from McDonald's. Mostly lines going this direction. You don't have to draw every single French fry in the basket. That's silly. And if you're like, oh, I can't draw all those French fries. Don't draw them. Just kind of like give yourself mostly lines going in the directions that they go, and then maybe you have like one French fry that's kind of sitting out here by itself. Okay. And of course, I'm not going to leave my food on the table, especially with coronavirus floating around here. So go back in here, set it on top of my burger wrapper, put a little ketchup here. Maybe I threw my pickles on the side. Nobody wants some pickles. Actually, I like pickles. My kids always pick the pickles off. I'll tell you what, one thing that people do, I've seen those videos where people take the pickle off and then they throw it on their friend's forehead. Man, when that first started happening, I thought that was hysterical. Not that you should do that. And you're like, oh, I'm going to make it look like it's ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Hashtag McDonald's. Okay, so you can draw all kinds of stuff. You know, your lunch, graffiti, cartoons, you know, design your own monster. Design what your artwork for your skateboard, the bottom of your skateboard, what's it called, a deck, what that might look like. You know, draw inspiration from what's going on in the world. All, you know, just draw simple design stuff. Draw stuff that's sitting around you. One of the last things I was going to say is you could draw from abstraction. You could draw abstraction. So, like, you could draw maybe a face. And faces that are abstract aren't necessarily... Man, that hand is disgusting. Yeah. Sorry. I'm like, I have like a... what do I call it? A complex. I have a complex about the way my hands look. It looks way better with a glove on, I believe, folks. I don't have the money or the energy to go get like a manicure or something. I need to see a dermatologist is what I need to do. So sometimes with abstraction, we can simplify facial features or you can like just reimagine them. Like the number 6 is now an eye, or I can just use simple shapes. You know, you can abstract the face and, you know, teeth that don't look this way, but, and abstraction doesn't always have to be a person. Abstraction just means that you're taking something from the real world and turning it into something that's just not natural, an unnatural looking something. So if I was drawing a face like this, you know, it doesn't matter if the ear is over here. It doesn't matter if there's hair at all, but maybe the hair is just over here on this side. And anyway, this is a picture that is just kind of the start of what I'm hoping to be able to do with you guys. I hope that you're enjoying them. I want to know more about the stuff that you want me to draw. I will take requests and I will draw things for you, show you examples how I would do stuff, and I just want to encourage you during this time. Like, I'm not anti-video game, okay? I'm not, but I want you to know that there's more to life than just video games, and I hope that you find time to, you know, whether that be video games or YouTube or whatever, that you actually spend time creating and being creative and doing things. Make TikToks, draw things. Don't worry if you fail. Just have fun doing it and using your brain in that creative way. I really think it's worthwhile. The more creative you are, the more creativity you have. It's just like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger you'll be. So that's all for now. Stay safe, stay inside. Not necessarily stay inside, but stay away from folks, and, you know, do what we all have to do. Okay? All right, be good. Talk to you all later. Bye.